Death by a Thousand Cuts. Posted originally on Archive of Our Own at http://archiveofourown.org/works/528999763. Rating: Tuned Up Audiences. Archive warning: Creator chose not to use archive warnings. Category: M/M. Fandom: Bungo Stray Dogs. Relationship: Dazai Osamu/Nakahara Chuya, Bungo Stray Dogs. Characters: Dazai Osamu, Bungo Stray Dogs, Nakahara Chuya, Bungo Stray Dogs. Additional tags: Trans Dazai Osamu, Bungo Stray Dogs. Pregnancy, trans pregnancy. No longer human, Dazai Osamu's ability, Bungo Stray Dogs. Panic attacks, headaches, and migraines. Me exploring the concept of abilities. I find that very interesting, okay? I'm so sorry for that mug, it's awful. Hurt/comfort. Soft Dazai Osamu, Nakahara Chuya, Bungo Stray Dogs. Caring Nakahara Chuya, Bungo Stray Dogs. Can be read standalone. Pregnant Dazai Osamu, Bungo Stray Dogs. Language: English. Series: Part 6 of Our Cinderella. Collections: Fixed to Save. Stats: published 2024, January 8th. Words: 4,956. Chapters 2 of 2. Death by a Thousand Cuts by Yellow_Symphony. Summary. Dazai blinks. He lets the words stew for a bit. The hell you mean tainted stopped working? It just snapped away, like with no longer human. Or what pregnancy does to an ability. Notes. Sponsored by 5 hours at the airport and then a train delay. Woohoo! Enjoy! Chapter 1. Pregnancy is a funny thing, both amazing and terrifying. Dazai finds that everything about him is changing. His body, emotions, priorities, relationships with people, responsibilities at work. It touches every aspect of his life. So it's not exactly the easiest to keep track of every little thing, much as he'd like to. He tries, at least with the physical changes. He's vulnerable and in a new situation, so keeping track of information brings his paranoid mind a bit of ease. His morning sickness stops when he's 14 weeks along. Finally, thank God. But other symptoms persist, and new ones pop up on top of it. He gets headaches, his skin feels more sensitive, he's sleepy all the time, and he's starting to show. Chuya, after having initially freaked out about the whole being a dad thing, did a damn 180 and cannot stop touching Dazai's stomach. It would be annoying if he weren't so damn cute. His emotions are all over the place, which might be the worst thing to happen to him since Mori wrapped his sleazy fingers around him and took him into the Mafia. Usually, Dazai can control himself pretty damn well. His reactions are entirely up to his choices. It's not like he doesn't feel, he just doesn't emote. Unless it's beneficial, and it's been that way for years. Now, though, all of that training and hard work has gone to shit. He yelled at Atsushi for fucking up a job that really wasn't that important. He almost cried when Kunikita yelled at him for messing with his paperwork. And he did cry when Chuya told him to fuck off when Dazai wanted to hug. If he'd asked directly, he would have gotten it, but he didn't, instead choosing to annoy Chuya into paying attention to him. Which Chuya did do after noticing that Dazai started fucking weeping right then and there in the parking lot at 7 in the morning. Dazai doesn't think he's ever seen him so freaked out. It would be funny if he weren't in tears over something so dumb at the time. So, being preoccupied a little bit with everything else, he failed to notice his ability started acting different. No longer human always hums at the back of his head. It's hard to describe, but he can feel it all the time, seeing as his power is on standby at all times, activating itself on its own rather than him having to do it so consciously. It's more prominent whenever he's nullifying an ability. The longer it goes on, the louder it seems to get, ringing in his ears and usually bringing a migraine with it. Point being, Dazai feels the presence of his ability. It's not unpleasant, though. It's like a little hum, a suggestion of something that he's aware of without really being able to voice what it's like. And it's not like there's any literature on how abilities affect a pregnancy. With the stigma that being an ability user used to bring, Dazai reckons people weren't really that keen on possibly being passed down what was essentially an equivalent of a curse. So pregnancies were avoided, terminated, or never talked about. And most abilities of pre-20th century ended up hanged or burned at the stake. Truly, Dazai was born in the wrong era. Nowadays, the most they'll do is drag him to the military or a lab. In modern times, Dazai speculates it's the fact that ability users usually gravitate towards dangerous lines of work, and that's not exactly a good place to raise a family. They're also notoriously protective of the ins and outs of their abilities, so hardly consenting to research studies and whatnot. Doctors don't exactly come knocking on the doors of people who are considered living weapons. So, having been given exactly nothing on the subject, Dazai, in his infinite wisdom, decided it's probably fine and he's not going to worry about it. Not when he has to worry about dumb things like his diet, or Chuya's objectively inferior suggestions about a nursery color scheme. He's partial to lavender, while Chuya prefers yellow. He pulls the "I have to carry this baby, which means my input counts more" card. Chuya says that he can't keep using this as an argument for everything every time, but buys lavender paint anyway. It's a Friday when Dazai wakes up with a headache bad enough he feels like he might throw up, and it aches to open his eyes. He has half mind to yell for Chuya and ask for painkillers, but nothing but the strongest shit works on him. Thank you for nothing, Mori-sensei. And you can't even take anything like that right now. And thank you for nothing, right now still nameless baby. Chuya, he still calls anyway, squeezing his eyes more when his own voice bounces around his skull like a puck on an air hockey table. He's had headaches every now and then since he got pregnant, but never like this. It's as if his brain is getting pulverized and about to leak out through his ears. Chuya doesn't take long to arrive, though he opens the door as loud as usual, and it could just as well have been a fucking nail being driven right into both of his eyes, and then hammered in for good measure. Don't. Dazai weakly stops before Chuya can proceed any further. Don't slam the doors. And he must sound really pathetic, because Chuya leaves the door open and comes to sit at his side without as much as a comment about it. Headache? He asks gently, and Dazai has never been as glad about their familiarity with each other as he is now. Gentle fingers brush through his hair, and the cool of Chuya's skin feels heavenly on his clammy forehead. He nods, turning his face into the pillow, hoping it's going to swallow him and somehow get rid of the pounding in his head. Do you want a compress? Mm-hmm. I'll bring you some water as well. What about breakfast? I'll be right back, okay? Chuya leaves, and Dazai loathes the immediate pang he feels at the loss of his hand and his hair. He chooses to try and breathe through his pulsing aches, hoping that before he knows it, Chuya will be back with something cold to put on his head, and maybe he can think about eating something in, 5 hours? Maybe? What happens instead is his head screeches with blunt pain as glass shatters somewhere on the other side of the door. If Dazai's brain were capable of functioning, he noticed it broke on tile because of the sound being sharper. He's mostly focused on not ripping his hair out, though, for lack of any other way to try and ground himself. He loses track of time even more. The only presence he feels is a stream of pain. He doesn't know when he starts tearing up, but his pillow is wet and it feels gross and clammy like the rest of his body, sweating through his clothes. It's static in his head except loud. Electricity running from his head to his fingertips, itchy and uncomfortable, prickling under his eyelids and nails and skin. He gets turned around and doesn't have enough strength to complain, but moving hurts, and vertigo is overwhelming him to the point he expects to pass out. Something heavenly cold touches his forehead, though, and it's a band-aid on a bleeding gunshot wound, but the immediate relief feels so good Dazai might just start sobbing. I'm sorry, he eventually hears once the ringing in his ear subsides a bit. It takes stupidly long for him to connect that voice to Chuya. What was it? Is what he means, but his tongue's too heavy in his mouth, and speaking still echoes in his head unpleasantly. Nothing, shh. Try to go back to sleep, alright? That'll help. There's no fucking way that's happening, Dazai thinks. But the second the compress starts becoming too warm, Chuya brings a new one, still keeping a hand in his hair and sitting just close enough to provide comfort, while not so close that Dazai feels itchy at the contact. The pounding is still in his head, but eventually, thankfully, Dazai slips into an uneasy rest. It's still bright when Dazai wakes up. He can actually tell now. It no longer hurts so much to open his eyes. A lingering throbbing persists, but compared to before, it's so mild it might as well not even be there. He carefully sits up, grabbing the still chilly compress on his head before it can fall. He drinks the water left for him slowly, careful not to make himself sick. The last thing he wants after this clusterfuck is to throw up. Chuya isn't in the room anymore, but the water in the glass is pleasantly cool, so he must have been in here not too long ago. He gets up slowly, carefully. Falling or passing out would not be ideal. And before long, he's stumbling towards the main room of the penthouse, where Chuya is sitting at the breakfast island, laptop open and focused enough that he doesn't notice Dazai until he's at the island as well. He's on Dazai in an instant, pushing him to sit, checking his forehead and his cheeks and eyes. It's so adorable, Dazai has to roll his eyes, which, ouch, hurts to do that. Is it still hurting? It's bearable, Dazai says, nuzzling into Chuya's palm. His hands are warm and soft, and Dazai's feeling really clingy right now. He can blame it on the pregnancy, but he's felt clingy towards Chuya every damn day since he met him, so that excuse probably wouldn't fly. Chuya ends up feeding Dazai pieces of fruit. Dazai doesn't think he can stomach anything else, but he knows he has to eat, so he lets Chuya force him into it until he doesn't want to look at Gertrude for the next 3 weeks. Gives him another glass of water, and then, finally, gives in to Dazai's most important demand and lets Dazai collapse on top of him on the couch. He wastes no time in cuddling up into Chuya just the right way, nosing his collarbones and the soft sweater he's wearing. One leg swung around his hip, attaching himself to his husband everywhere he can. He very graciously doesn't mention the smitten look he catches on Chuya's face when Dazai is busy rearranging himself to be comfortable. Chuya is so smitten with him, he should be embarrassed. What was that thing earlier? Dazai asks a little later, the most content he's felt since the morning, with Chuya's arms holding him and one of his fingers drawing shapes on Dazai's back. If he were a cat, he'd be purring right now, probably. Maybe Dazai should be a little embarrassed as well. Something broke. Their bodies have so many contact points right at the moment, it's impossible not to notice that Chuya's body tenses up, and his hand ceases all movement. Well, that doesn't seem too good. Did you break my mug? They both know which one he's talking about. It's an unbelievably ugly thing that Dazai got from Rampo for his 21st birthday. White with a shitty stock photo of a cat, the caption above saying, "This pussy won't lick itself." Dazai loves it. Chuya does not. All hell would absolutely break loose if Chia broke it, accident or not. The unbelievably dumb design aside, it's the first gift he's ever gotten from anyone at the agency, and while Dazai has never been a sentimental man, he refuses to let this cringy disaster go. Chia will probably hide it when the baby is old enough to learn how to read. Shame. Unfortunately not, Chia mumbles. Dazai swats at him for it. This is no place for disrespecting the mug in this house. It was weird. Tainted just stopped working? Dazai blinks. He lets the word stew for a bit and lifts himself on his forearms. The hell you mean Tainted stopped working? I mean exactly that, Chia exclaims. I was taking a glass to you, it worked fine, and then I took like 2 steps and it just snapped away. Like it was no longer human. That's impossible. Tell me about it, Chia mumbles. Dazai glares. Can you use it now? You're touching every fucking part of my body, so not really, smartass. Oh my god, you're so difficult, Dazai exhales, regretfully crawling out of Chia's arms to gracelessly settle on the floor instead. Okay, you're one to fucking talk. Use it, Dazai quips. This time Chia glares, but then his eyes go to something behind Dazai, looking at whatever thing he wants to change the gravity of. He doesn't need to, but Dazai knows it helps him focus. Dazai turns around. There's a teacup on the table that's the most likely target. It doesn't move. I'm not touching you, Dazai mumbles to himself. For good measure, he grabs Chia's hand. Nothing changes. He lets go. Nothing changes again. What the hell? Are you feeling okay? Does it feel weird when you try to use it? Not really. It's really just like no longer human. That little prickling I usually feel when you nullify it. No longer human has always been a contact-based ability, though, and only directly influencing something Dazai touches with bare skin. Tainted never works on him or the clothes he's wearing. Chia can tie his bolo tie for him, though, because it's resting on top of his clothes, so not touching his skin. Rampo and Dazai theorized together that, given the president's ability, Dazai perhaps could train his ability. It would likely always remain in that standby status, always nullifying whatever is in contact with him. But they threw around the theory that he could learn to create a nullification area around himself. These were all just late-night musings, though, and he certainly hasn't even tried yet. No way in hell his body would just randomly decide to alter his ability after it activated almost 20 years ago. Nothing should have changed. No one kidnapped him and forced him to ingest any weird ability-altering substance. He hasn't been in contact with anybody who might have had the power to do it without any contact with him. He hasn't had anything happen to him, well, besides... Oh. What? There's no studies on it, so it technically is a possibility. That's what the awful headache must have been. Given the changes in biology and level of hormones, hey. Plus, it does deal with genetics, and it would possibly mean some sort of biological imbalance that could be affecting him, considering the issue is his ability, which is something ingrained into a person's DNA, and which is present in every part of his body as far as he knows, so it would be logical to assume, who's to say they aren't an ability user as well? Maybe that's part of the issue, seeing as no one knows how exactly abilities transfer. Is it possible that they have an amplifying power, and it's manifesting early because of the rapid growth? He's smacked in the head. Not very strong, but still. Don't smack me, he says, understandably outraged. I'm pregnant with your spawn. I'm delicate. The spawn is half yours, Chia mumbles under its breath. He takes his hand away from Dazai's head before he can bite it. What a shame. What have you figured out? It's our spawn's fault, Dazai says. Well, probably. Chia blinks at him with zero understanding in his eyes. Great. Dazai's baby is at a serious risk of being an idiot if they're going to be anything like their dad. This pregnancy is, most likely, somehow amplifying my ability, he explains. He starts crawling back into Chia's lap as well. The topic is largely undocumented, so it can't be sure. Here he snuggles into Chia's chest, snatching his hand and placing it on his own hair. As Dazai hoped, he starts petting his hair. What a well-trained husband he's got. We can assume the baby is going to be an ability user, considering that both of us are. Abilities don't manifest until at least a few years of age, but the theory goes that they're still there, dormant, until the day you're born. They tend to get stronger and more stable as you grow until you reach maturity, pretty much, though that varies. Oh, that, you damn show-off. What's that got to do with all of this? At least Chia gets pretty. If the baby gets his genes, they might not be smart or tall, but hey, looks will get them somewhere for sure. I was just getting there, he grumbles. Seeing as it's theorized everyone is already born with an ability, it's safe to assume it already develops in the womb and awaits the critical point of activation. Think sexual maturity. People with uteri already have all their eggs when they're still in the womb, although not functional until puberty. So all of this energy that in adults goes into their ability doesn't have an output because the fetus doesn't have an active ability. And because of rapid growth it goes through, it's likely a lot of energy as well. So where is this energy directed? The parent. Chia stays quiet. Dazai waits appropriately 5 seconds before he's decided he won't receive any praise for his beautifully thought out scientific breakthrough. He really is so unappreciated in this relationship. So this way we'll know for sure they'll have an ability, huh? Not really, actually, Dazai answers. It could also be the case that the energy or whatever fuels her abilities, actually, is present in everybody, and in that case, every ability user pregnancy would have ability issues regardless of the baby being gifted or not. And non-gifted pregnancies wouldn't, because obviously that energy has nowhere to be channeled into. It would then perhaps be turned into regular energy. There's really no way to know which is true or not. How many video essays have you watched on the ability resources? Like 6 dozen mumbles. One of them had some cool theories though. Do you want to hear about it? Dazai can feel Chiya's sigh, but Dazai is pregnant, which means Chiya can't tell him no. And if he does, Dazai will probably cry, and Chiya will feel too guilty to decline again. Guess I've got nothing better to do. Victory. Chapter 2. Chapter notes. See the end of the chapter for notes. No Longer Human goes between being normal and amplifying a few times through the next few weeks, seemingly at random. Dazai does make a spreadsheet because the data is rather interesting and he's bored, but so far the results are inconclusive at best. The only conclusion he could draw is that whatever his ability is going haywire. The larger the radius, the worse the accompanying headache. The worst he has, he ends up throwing up from pain and sobbing while she is in the hallway, yelling at his OBGYN through the phone because she doesn't let Dazai take anything stronger than Tylenol. He passes out from the pain in the end, and his consciousness fades in and out for the next day or so. Once the worst of it is through, Dazai is able to coherently think again. Chiya dotes on him like never before. Dazai doesn't say anything about shaking hands or how he barely ever uses tainted around the house, even when Dazai claims it's okay to do so. When something new happens, again, Dazai is at 18 weeks. The baby is the size of a bell pepper. Dazai is visibly pregnant now and only wears sweaters a size too big. And Chiya has a new favorite pastime of talking with the bell pepper inside Dazai's stomach. Dazai thought it was a little dorky at first, but he couldn't even say anything, seeing the sheer adoration in Chiya's eyes. This time it's the evening. Dazai and Chiya are cuddling on the bed, with Chiya behind Dazai, caressing the swell of his stomach and leaving little kisses on the back of his neck. Dazai is positively melting at the attention, content to stay like this for the rest of forever. What do y'all want to do tomorrow? She asks, and Dazai can feel him smiling into his skin. Tomorrow is a day off for them both. Usually Chiya would plan some elaborate date, probably a dinner where Dazai would order the most expensive item on the menu only because his husband is rich and he wants the waiter to know it, after which Chiya likes to book a hotel stay even though they own an apartment in the city. It's the experience that matters, he always says. Dazai doesn't mind in the slightest. He gets pampered, he gets to show off his beautiful, wealthy husband, and the sex that follows from the date is fantastic. Not that it isn't always. Triple win. Nowadays, though, they can't exactly allow themselves for such things. Dazai's pregnancy is on a need-to-know basis only. He and Chiya have far too many enemies for the news to get out, especially within the poor mafia. As far as Chiya is aware, it's for the entirety of the organization, but Dazai's main issue is, as usual, Mori. Dazai would burn the entirety of Yokohama to the ground if Mori got his disgusting hands on his and Chiya's baby. He knows firsthand the kind of damage that man is capable of inflicting. You could cook something nice for me, Dazai muses out loud, all the thoughts of the outside world long out of his mind by this point. And their bed, surrounded by a soft blanket with Chiya's lips on his skin, it really feels like nothing else in the world matters but them in this moment. And make dessert. I be the one to do so, Nowadays, the teasing doesn't seem so aggressive out of Chiya. It's laced with sweetness and a smile, and Dazai feels like he's floating on a damn cloud. 'Cause, he drawls out, turning around just a bit so he can see Chiya's face. The mischievous twinkle in his eyes, the way his hair is tousled from laying down, framing his face just so. His smile that's small and gentle and so real. I'm fragile and I can't be doing any work. Oh, is that so? Chiya nuzzles Dazai's nose with his own, and Dazai can't help but giggle at the tickle of it. What would my fragile husband and our baby like then? We've collectively decided on salmon and something with nuts for dessert. Oh, and coconut. And I'm just guessing you want a double portion of the dessert. Well, there's 2 of us here, Dazai rolls his eyes playfully. You can't just make one dessert for 2 people. That's unfair. Chiya laughs as if it's not an argument Dazai has made at least a dozen times before. He leans closer and Dazai sighs into the kiss he receives. It's soft and slow, and the 2 of them break away every few seconds only to press their lips together again. Times like these, Dazai starts to believe that all of his friends and Chiya are onto something. Life seems worth living sometimes. It's between kisses that Dazai jolts all of a sudden, gasping against Chiya's lips. He doesn't know what's wrong, but something feels off. You okay? Chiya asks softly, scanning his face. Last year, Dazai would have lied and said yes. This year, Dazai has had to swear on Oda's grave that he won't ever lie about his health during his pregnancy. He shakes his head softly, brows furrowing as he's cataloging his body, trying to figure out why he's feeling this weird feeling all of a sudden. What's wrong? Chiya is quick to ask. Do you feel sick? He's already sitting up, the tranquility from before popping like a soap bubble. No, something feels weird? In your stomach? Damn it, now Chiya is starting to sound panicked, and that very much is not what Dazai needs right now. All over, he answers instead. Chiya doesn't look comforted. He separates from Dazai enough from his phone to start floating towards him, probably to once again bother Dazai's doctor, Dazai grabs his arm instead, a complaint on the tip of his tongue about how he should let the poor woman have a day off, but nothing happens. Dazai and Chuya both stare at Dazai's hand wrapped around Chuya's wrist, no pale blue glow of no longer human to be seen. Chuya's phone keeps floating above the bed. Dazai allows himself to initially panic a little bit, but only for about 10 seconds before logic takes over and he drills his head for possible solutions. All those instances with the pregnancy messing with his ability come to his head. So this is the uncomfortable thing he's feeling. No longer human isn't working. It's not active for the first time since it's turned on when he was 8 years old. The ever-present, chilly hum that followed his every step, gone. He feels his breath quicken without being aware that he started breathing faster, and he can't will himself to slow it down. The song is, "Sweetheart, you need to calm down." He can't. What is he without the one constant in his life? Everything else leaves, people die or betray, adults hurt and deceive, the world shifts and changes, but he has always had this one thing to fall back on. How is he of any use without it? What is he without it? It feels wrong on a fundamental atomic level, like right now he shouldn't be allowed to exist, like he should vanish into nothing because that is what holds him together. His thoughts feel overwhelming without the clutch he usually uses to keep focus, and he can't breathe. Shh, it's okay, it'll come back, it's alright, it's not gone forever, baby, it's okay. But it's not. Try to breathe with me, sweetheart. You're okay. I'm here. Samu, I'm right here. How's it be any use of truth if he can't stop corruption? No, listen, you need to calm down. There's one thing he's supposed to be able to do, and now he's useless. Come on. He comes to with fingers gently brushing through his hair. He's warm. He's in a blanket in someone's arms. There's a soft singing in the air, though Dazai can't understand the words, not until the fuzziness in his brain washes away and he's able to work out why it is that he doesn't understand. It's French. It's Chuya that's holding him. Dazai stirs. He doesn't remember falling asleep, though. You awake, sweetheart? Huh. Sweetheart isn't a pet name Chuya drops often. It's for doctor's visits, or Dazai's self-harm relapses, for after the attempts that almost work. Dazai tries to speak, but finds his throat too raw. Is he sick? Is that it? Is that why he can't recall falling asleep? A cup of water with a straw is presented to him, and Dazai carefully sips from it, eyes half-lidded and unfocused. It takes him far too long, but eventually he notices Chuya is holding him. Chuya is also using for the tainted sorrow. Ah, now things are coming back. Don't forget again, Chuya says quickly, likely feeling Dazai's heartbeat pick up again. He takes the cup away and shoves it onto the nightstand, as if getting rid of the visual of his ability will make Dazai forget his own doesn't work. It's gonna come back, okay? Remember when you get all those headaches when your ability expands? It's just like that. A few hours, days at most, and you'll be back to normal. It's okay. You're okay. Chuya speaks in a rush, massaging Dazai's arms, his back, his hair, keeping contact with him anywhere he can. Dazai is glad. Chuya is warm, and without his ability, Dazai feels so damn cold. I know, Dazai says quietly, although he doesn't really believe it. I know, it feels awful. It probably does, sweetheart. Chuya's voice is soft and warm like honey, and he presses an even softer kiss to Dazai's forehead. You'll be alright, though. I'll be right here until it's back, okay? Don't use corruption, Dazai blurts out. It's ridiculous to say he knows in what world would Chuya be using corruption when they're inside their flat and there's no missions at all coming up that would be serious enough for that. I won't. I'll stay right here with you. Is it at all? Dazai corrects himself, hand grabbing Chuya's shirt, afraid to let go. Not until the baby is out. You can't, Chuya, you can't. I won't. Chuya cuts him off, squeezing him harder into his embrace. Dazai is shaking. He didn't even notice before. I promise, okay? Even if Mori asks. Even then. Dazai nods, hiding his face in Chuya's shoulder. The lack of his ability feels like he lost a limb, except like it's an organ. Like phantom pain for something inside him. He doesn't sleep that night. Not even a bit. No longer human is gone for about 37 hours. Dazai sobs in relief when it's back. Chuya holds him through his tremors, saying soothing nothings, trying to activate Tainted at any time Dazai asks, even when he asks so over and over. They don't get that date night in the end. Chapter end notes. I don't usually like dividing one-shots into chapters, but this works better, so sorry, not sorry about making Dazai suffer all the time, Lamau. He's my special voice, so that's the price. Please drop by the archive and comment to let the creator know if you enjoyed their work.